Hello everyone! Welcome back to our weekly update videos. I know we had a little bit of a break last week. I just had you reading something. So I just thought I would, bring it back to the original plan, which was our videos. I do want to say, first off, I have no special guests today. I'm sorry, I have some coffee. Special guest coffee. That's not really that exciting. A little cardinal. Yeah, so I really don't have any people or pets to introduce today. So that's kind of a bummer, but we're back. It's June already. We're in week 4. How did that happen? We're going right through this semester. I'm really enjoying reading the questions that you posed. I haven't quite got through all the responses yet, but I'm getting there. And I'm really anxious to start reading the Panopticon film analyses. So those would be really interesting. I see a lot of you chose Hunger Games, Truman Show, and Nerve. Those seem to be the 3 top choices for the film. So those are some really good ones and really obvious ones in a good way in terms of how the Panopticon is applied. But today shouldn't be a huge weekly update. We don't have a ton of stuff to do this week, so it's kind of a nice break. I know the last couple weeks have been pretty intense. So we are getting back to a couple of things that we've been doing the last few weeks, or the first few weeks, excuse me, of the semester. So we're kind of getting back to the original stuff. But let's talk about what we have to do this week. You do have a reading from, I have the book in front of me this time, under Surveillance, Chapter 3, Growing Up Observed. I think this one is going to resonate with a lot of you, specifically because in some of the questions, the reading responses that we've had throughout the semester already, many of you have noted different spots where you've grown up observed. For example, different apps that your parents put on your phones, nanny cams, some people have mentioned. So these are different instances that Lewis is going to be talking about of how we grow up and we are observed constantly. I mean, I watch my son constantly on his little, on the little monitor that we have. I can look at it on my phone and I'm not even home right now. So these are different things that we experience growing up observed. And so that's really what this chapter deals with, about how if we think about surveillance, it really starts when we're really, really young. That used to not be the case. Maybe it was just somebody watching you, physically, like babysitting or something. But now we do have all these technological advances where we can observe children in very different ways, and whether or not that's helpful or harmful. And so that's really what is going on this week. Our reflection questions this week really ask that. Did you experience, as Lewis argues, growing up observed? In what ways? Describe how you were or were not. So that's our reflection question for the week, which is going to tie nicely into the surveillance memoir. I'm going to post another video in a few minutes talking about the surveillance memoir, but really your response to that reflection question is a really good way of brainstorming your responses or your initial ideas, at least for the memoir itself. So for the memoir, again, I'm going to post a video about you really thinking about these moments when you were a child, of when you were observed, or at least throughout your life. Not necessarily a child, as a young adult even, when you were observed, and how that is, good and bad. I think that there are some arguments to be made in either side of that, for either case. And so there is an example in our book, and I'll do the same sort of thing. Hopefully I'll post it a little earlier this time, of an example that Lewis really kind of gives, that gives us a sample surveillance memoir. He kind of goes through this idea of what that means. That begins on page 90 of our reading for this week. It's a little bit longer than what we'll be writing, but you have an idea of what that is. Actually, strike that. I think it begins on page 96 now that I'm flipping through it. I said 90 earlier. It is 96. So you do have a different idea there of what that will mean. Also, throughout the week, let me go back here. Oops. So you have chapter 3 you're reading, you have the reflection questions, and then you have the little video about the surveillance memoir, which I'll post in a few that you're going to watch. And then you just have to respond to other people's discussion posts, kind of what you've been doing throughout the semester anyway. So this is kind of a, not too heavy lifting of a week, but I do encourage you to get started on the surveillance memoir on your own. So we do have that upcoming. That's really it. Nothing too crazy to talk about. I hope you found the links that you had to read last week interesting, a little change of pace, kind of see some interesting ideas of what we've been reading in our textbook actually play out in the real world. Not necessarily just within our textbook, but we can see how they actually function. I think that's all I have to say. Strangely, it's cold in my office today. Isn't it summer, right? It's June. I'm in a fleece. That doesn't make sense. What? Hopefully you're having a good week so far. It's Monday. Maybe you had a good weekend. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Short video today, 5.5 minutes. We're good. I'll talk to you soon on the surveillance memoir. So I'll see you in a few minutes.